Alright, diesel electric road locomotive is operating construction section 6 class Fairbanks Morris Company passenger unit 3 general locomotive Fairbanks Morris Company builder 600 horsepower 23 to 64 air ratio 100 miles an hour maximum 2 units per locomotive 2A 1 unit B traction per unit 2 tracks per unit 2 axles per truck 3 traction motors per truck 2 wheel diameter 42 inches general size 6.5 to 12 brake schedule Westinghouse 24RL maximum overload dimensions A unit 15 foot 3 inches 16 and a quarter inch width 64 and 10 inches length 331,400 pounds 230 and 800 pounds for the weight on the drivers 1,200 gallons steam water generator supply, 650 gallons fuel oil capacity, 20 cubic feet. All right, the B unit, 15 foot height, width is 10 foot and 6.25 inch, length 64 inch, 10 inches. Total weight 332,800 pounds. And total weight on drivers 232,100 pounds. Steam generator water supply 2,260 gallons, 1,220 gallons. Fuel 40 cubic feet. Make and model FM 38D81/8. Horsepower governed by the RPM 200 horsepower, the 850 RPM type of the inline opposed position, outpost piston, 2 cycle number cylinders 10. The bore stroke is boring stroke 8 1/8 of an inch by 10 by 10 inch. Idling RPM 300 RPMs. Firing order 18735942106. Number of engines per unit 1. Lubricating oil capacity 360 gallons. Cooling water capacity 367 gallons. Diesel engines described in Section 9 class of FF3. The described engine governor control scheme that's described in Section 9 FF3. Diesel engine cooling system, same as described in Section 9 class FF3, except that the steam generator provided for the standby heat that emitted with the locomotive is left standing with the diesel engine shutting down there, whether the dangerous free for the steam may be supplied with the system cooling water system should be drained. The fueling supply system with the cooling system connected from the stream train line with the provided through the steam admission valve, the detective valve located with the small pipe with the water pump suction line. Steam can be supplied with the connecting outside the steam line with the steam train line connection at the either end of the unit with operating the steam generator and another unit. Diesel engine lubricating oil system same as described in Section 9 class FF3. Diesel engine fuel oil system same as described in Section 9 class FF3. Electrical power system same as described in Section class FF3 for the following exemptions. The transition takes place automatically, both increasing and decreasing speed of the following speeds. Points 1 and 2, 25 miles an hour, 2 and 3, 33 miles an hour, 3 and 4, 64 miles an hour. 1 traction motor drive for the leading axle, 1 of the trailing axle for the truck through spurs of the gears, the 23 to 64 ratio of the traction motor. Either the truck are air cooled by a separate motor driven power blower, and one on over the each of the truck with the 4 traction motor on a unit connected with the series of parallel starting low speed with the parallel 33 miles an hour automatic transition unless restricted with the position of the transition lever field shunting with provided with the take place in serial parallel with the 25 miles an hour and parallel with the 64 miles an hour less restricted with the position of the transition lever with the compartment of the control panel includes the 280 ampere thermal overload circuit breaker with the steam generator over speed relay with the loss and located with the nose of the A units operated with 105 miles per hour with the stand heater control with the element with the panel with left rear with the engine room, the 6th, the boiler flame and oil indicator light is located with the engine control panel with each of the unit with the operating cab of the A units, the compressed air system, same as described in Section 9 with the class FF3 with except this class of locomotive with electro-pneumatic forward features include the air brake system. Operation same as described in Section 9 class FF3 with the following exemptions when they operated with the load ammeted with the throttle lever with the 8th notch of the minimum continuous speed of 2 miles an hour. Operating speed below 22 miles an hour is permissible under the following limitation for the throttle lever to the 8th notch, 18 miles an hour 90 minutes and 12 miles an hour 4 minutes. Alright, Section 8, Class E5, EF4, General Dana Locomotive. General Data Locomotive, Electric Motive Division, General Motors Corp. 6,000 horsepower, gear ratio 1562, 65 miles an hour, maximum speed 2 unit per locomotive, 2 A units, 2 B units, trucks per unit 2, axles per truck 2, traction motors per truck 2, wheel diameter 40 inches, journal size 6.5 by 12 inch, braking schedule, wedding house 24RL, air A unit 15 and 5 inches, 10 and 6 and 7/8 inch, height width 50 foot and 8 and 3/8 inch length. 238,000 pounds weight on the total weight, 338,000 pounds weight on the driver, 1,200 gallons of fuel oil capacity, sand capacity, 16 cubic feet. The B unit is 14 foot 9.5 inch height, 10 and 6 inches, 7/8 inch. Width 50 foot 0 and 50 foot 3 and quarters of an inch, 2,700 pounds. Total weight 322,700 pounds. Weight on the driver 1,200 gallons. Capacity 16 foot cubic feet. Sand capacity. Make and model EMD 567B. Horsepower governor RPM 1,500 horsepower at the 800 RPMs. The V2 cycle 16, number of cylinder 16, the bore cylinder 8.5 by 10 inch, the idle spin 275 RPMs, firing order 1, 8, 9, 16, 3, 6, 11, 14, 4, 5, 12, 13, 2, 7, 10, 15. Number of engines per unit 1, low lubricant oil capacity, engine 2, 200 gallons, cooling water capacity, A unit 230 gallons, B unit 215 gallons. Our diesel engine. The diesel engine U with the class of the locomotive same with the described in diesel engine section class 3, class of the EP section 3 class of EP3 with except with the 16 cylinder instead of the 12. The cylinder engine with the number from the front of the rear, starting with 1 at the front of the right bank, at the end of the end of the R at the end, 8 at the end of the right bank, beginning with 9 at the front of the left bank at the beginning, ending with 16 at the rear of the end of the left bank. The diesel engine governor control. The hydraulic type of the governor with the engine similar to the described diesel engine with the governor control. Section 3, the class EP3 of the fuel control portion of the both the governor identical with the pressure, the speed, springing with the governor control, with the hydraulic position, with the speed setting of the position set by the governor control arm, mechanically positioned with electro-pneumatic governor control, with the position of the speed setting with piston to determine the throttle level position with the electro-hydraulic governing control point of the upper portion of the governor throttle position corresponding to diesel engine RPM as the same as those given in Section 3 class EP3. The overspeed stop device is the same as described in Section 3 class EP3. Diesel engine cooling system. The cooling system with the several engines of the locomotive are similar to each of them except for the cab heaters incorporated with the cooling system in the engine for the A unit. The cooling system with the so that the water levels are below the radiator of the engine the shutdown, the giving the protection against the radiators freezing the front down during the shutdown of the cold weather. 2 central figure water pumps mounted at the front end of the engine, drawing the water with lubricating oil. Cool the water tank at the assembly located with the floor stand with the front end of the engine with the pump circulated with the water with the bottom of each of the cylinder liner up through the cord passage of the liner cylinder headed through the outlet manifold 2 banks of the radiator section located with the main hatch over the engine. Here the water cooler returns through the oil cooler assembly to the engine. The water temperature system may be checked with the dial type of the gauge located in the suction line with the left hand with the water pump down the engine for the indicator of the temperature of water going into the engine of the tape. The gauge may be color coded with the dial on which the 120 to 190 degrees Fahrenheit points are indicated with the black lines. The dial is colored blue with below 120 degrees Fahrenheit and green between green from 120 to 190 degrees, yellow merging with the red 190 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit and fuel red above 200 degrees Fahrenheit. The normal operation range for the 150 to 108 degrees indicated with the wide range of green section. Engine cooling water temperature is controlled by the automatic operation radiator shutter of the motor driven cooling fans. Fuel electrical driven cooling fans located above between the radiators, drawing the air through the radiator, dissipating with the heat with the cooling water of the atmosphere. The AC motor driven the fan for the receive of the power of the alternator built with the main generator. The fan motors are automatically stored consecutively with 169 degrees water temperature accordingly to cooling demands. All fan motors operating with 178 degrees Fahrenheit. All fans stop and shut closed whenever the cooling water temperature drops 163 degrees. For operation with the cooling fans is controlled with the thermostatic assembly located with the engine cooling with the water outlet pipe with the left side of the engine between the engine of the radiators. Two sets of radiator shutters, one set located with each of the sidewall of the unit that operated automatically pneumatically cylinders, which are the main reserve the air pressure through the magnetic valve. The shutter of the switch is provided with the summer winter conditions with the switch in the position with the shutter opening at 166 degrees Fahrenheit. The water temperature before the cooling fan start with the switch with the winter position. The shutter open at 175 degrees when the third cooling fan starts. The engine high temperature alarm with switch with the thermal switch located on the left side of each of the unit between the dynamic braking grid hatch with the cooling hatch next to the shutter magnetic valve. The connecting the thermal elements cooling water outlet manifold and engine. If the outlet water temperature exceeds 203 degrees Fahrenheit, the switch closes with the light with the hot engine alarm. This lights only with the unit having the high cooling water temperature operating on the signal relay with the rings of the alarm bell throughout the locomotive. When necessary to add the water to the engine cooling system, proceed as follows. Shut down the engine, open the G valve. The G valve is located above the zero of the left side of the engine room door. At the water slowly return until the room runs out of the G valve. Throw it there is a full pipe at the roof of each of the unit directly above the water tank of the side filters of the under the roof of each of the unit on the either side. 3. Close the G valve. There are 2 16 water gauge glasses located in the water tank above the engine control panel instrument panel. They are also arranged with the glass overlap of the polar valve with the full operating water with the level coverage. The proper operating level is indicated with the sensor on the water tank next to the water gauge glasses. The cab heater, the A units are equipped with the hot water from the diesel engine cooling system through a separate inlet valve located with the steps leading in the cab. If the locomotive is to be left standing with the diesel engine shut down with the danger of the freezing, stand by the heat of the if the steam can be supplied by the system, all the waters must be drained from the system. The standby heater is suitably piped into the cooling water system on each of the units. The heating of the circulates, but the water cooling system electrically driven central figure to circulate the cooling water through the jacket and the heater. Fuel gravity heater with from 15 gallons of the tank is burned into the firebox for the heater of the cooling water. The passion through the jacket absorbs the heat generated in the firebox. The diesel engine fuel transfer pump supplies the fuel oil heater tank with the necessary valve for the controlling the fuel oil water flow and included with the system. Alright, to start the standby heater, open the water circulation valve, place the torch furnished with the heater with the fuel ring, and through the lighting door, opening the fuel meter with the stop in order to saturate the torch with the fuel oil. Light the torch, place it over the burner through the lightning door. After about 1.5 minutes, start circulating the pump blower fan with the damper the close, but remove the torch after the fire is ignited. The torch has burned out. This should take 3 to 5 minutes. Open the damper slowly, sufficient amount to obtain the clear stack with a minimum amount of excessive air to maintain the white flame tips. To stop the standby heater, close the fuel monitoring valve. Stop the blower heater after the fuel is burned out. Close the water circulation valve. For supplying steam system, cooling system, the connection to the steam chamber provided through the steam emission valve with the check valve located with the small pipe with the water pump with the discharge line with the left side of the engine. Following the valve, there will be open the 1G valve to the steam emission valve of the engine. Open the A units open also the cab heater inlet valve, the cab heater steam valve, the steam emission valve, the cab heater with the footsteps on the right side leading the cab to drain the engine cooling system. First, open the G valve, then open the valve of the floor under the water tank oil cooler assembly to the front end of the engine. Move the pipe plug for the bottom of the right bank of the water pump to drain the heater A unit. To open the cab heater and inlet valve located above the step leading to the cab. To open the cab heater, the drain valve located between the number 2 stand blocks on the left side unit. After this valve drains completely, open the steam valve with each of the cab heater, then open the steam line drain valve at the right side of the engine room with the cab store. Alright, diesel engine lubricating oil system. Lubricating oil system for the diesel engine with several units of the locomotive that are similar to each other. The oil stored in the oil pan of the engine is gauged with the bayonet type of the gauge of the oil pan on the left side of the engine. When the engine is running with the bayonet gauge, should be show that the oil is between low and fuel with the engine shut down with the first with the fill with the level of the bayonet shown with the system uncharted. The system and the being run and shut down level on the bayonet gauge should be shown. The system chart. The difference with it and the engine shut down is due to the oil being trapped in the line of the filters and standard strainer tank. When the oil is added to the system, that is to be poured through the opening having the square cap at the top of the strainer tank mounted on the front end of the engine from the right side. And the lubricating oil system pressure system, the 2 positive displacement gear type of the pumps that combined with a single unit with the one pump delivers the oil from the pressure lubricating system. The other pump is piston, the other from piston cooling. The oil supply for the piston is drawn from the lubricating oil strainer through the common suction pipe. A scavenging oil pump is used to draw the oil from the engine oil pan through the strainer of the pump and through the lubricating oil filter with lubricating oil cooler through the strainer tank. Lubricating oil pump is used certainly located at the front of the engine. Scavenging oil pump at the lower left of the front of the corner of the engine. The oil cooler lower adjacent to the cooling water tank of the fuel standing at the front end of the engine provides for the transfer of heat of lubricating oil with the cooling water. Therefore, the definite relation between lubricating oil temperature and cooling water temperature. The dial pressure located on the right hand side of the engine control panel shows the lubricating oil pressure delivered to the main bearing. Lubricating oil pressure must be maintained at all times. When starting of the cold engine, the oil pressure should be started to build and immediately should rise at about 50 pounds when the engine warms. The pressure should be approximately 35 to 40 pounds at the 800 RPMs. Normally should be not to drop below 20 pounds. The idle pressure should be at least 6 pounds. If the water pressure cannot be held between 180 degrees, the main bearing oil pressure to decrease in the mid permissible to operate the pressure at as low as 15 pounds at 800 RPMs. If lubricating oil pressure drops below 15 pounds at 800 RPM with lubricating oil pressure, oil failure shutdown system shall stop the diesel engine. A color-coded dial type of the gauge also located in the engine control panel with the left side of the show with the lubricating oil pump section. The color-coded dial with the marked with the green, yellow, red block for the under the normal condition needle of the gauge should be within the green portion. If the needle is less than the yellow or red portion, indicates the cooling clogged lubricating oil strain of the strainer. The tank of the strainer becomes sufficiently clogged and lubricating oil filter shut down the system in the diesel engine. Automatic shutdown of the diesel engine event of lubrication oil pressure failure excessive lubricating oil pump section and provided with the lubricating oil filter shutdown system incorporated the engine governor. When lubricating oil filter shuts down the system shop, the engine alarm bell sounds with all the units locomotive and the yellow oil blue alternate failure indicates life will show the units concerned with the push button in the front of the governor housing will move out of the exposing red band around the shaft of the button. The push button must be pushed in. The isolation switch must be started in the position to cut the lights from the stop of the alarm bells. The push button must be reset before the engine can be started. If the condition was caused by the shutdown still exists, the time delay approximately 40 seconds after the engine running idle speed and provided a loud check for the cause of the shutdown before the engine will again stop. Alright, diesel engine fuel oil system. Fuel oil system, the diesel engine with several units of the locomotive that are similar to each other. The fuel system and tank of these modern each for the unit, but the locomotive may be filled with either side of the sight glass. Looking at each side of the supply tank of the van, adjacent with the fuel oil filter indicates the level of the fuel oil with a point 4.5 below the top of the tank, with the top of the tank or to the top of the tank. A dial type fuel gauge is located with the engine control panel on each of the unit. The air valve on such each engine control panel must be opened with the reading of it should be closed after the reading has been taken. The gauge is calibrated in inches of 0 to 28. Electrically driven fuel oil transfer pump is lubricated under the lubricating oil filter. The fuel stamp at the front end of the engine draws the fuel oil sump of the fuel supply tank through the suction line filler, then pumps the fuel oil filters to the injector. The fuel filter assembly consists of the two centered bronze elements for the orifice sight with a glass 60-pound relief valve. The sight glass is mounted with the right end and front end of the engine. The fuel being of the pumps and two injector pads with the both and filter elements. Each of the injector has two small fuel oil pump pipe connectors. The injector, the fuel returning from the injector pass with the manifold through the sight glass near the engine through the orifice of the return line with the fuel supply tank. Fuel should show in this sight glass whenever the fuel transfer pump is running. If the fuel oil pressure the fuel transfer pump discharge builds up to 60 pounds to be obstructed, the fuel oil line filters fuel oil will show in 60-pound sight glass. No attempt shall be made to run the diesel engine until the condition has been corrected. The injector shaft is the same described in the design diesel engine fuel oil system section 3 class EP3. The emergency fuel cutoff valve located under the unit and the piping cutting of the fuel supply tank of the sump. And the supply sump can be closed by pulling one of the several pull rings located on one of the unit. One on each side of the unit. The small box and lifting cup of the adjacent fuel supply tank filler. And one of the operating cab of the A unit is bulkhead over the one behind the fireman's position. One left side of the wall near the rear side of the door of B units. Electrical power to the main generator. Each unit contains a signal diesel engine unit of 1,500 horsepower. The main generator is connected to the diesel engine through a flexible coupling generator is cooled with the blower coupled to the end of the auxiliary generator shaft. Alternators built to the engine end of the main generator supplies the alternating current power of the traction motor blower and the radiator cooling fans. Auxiliary generator mounted with the main generator of the driven with the flexible coupling of the rear gear of the train of the engine with the use of the charge the storage battery of the unit and to the supply of the low voltage power. Control channel. The engine man position A unit for the controls the lateral level, the reverse level, and transition lever. Throttle lever operates electrically with a electro-hydraulic governor. The reverse lever operates reverse and electromagnetic control. The transverse lever, when moved left off on the opposition, sets for the control stick with the change with the traction over the connection with the operating the manual transmission. When used, the automatic transmission provides the fuel automatic forward and backward transition without forestalling the future. When moved to the right of its position, the transition lever controls the dynamic brake. A selector switch located in the electrical control cabinet on each of the unit provided with the select manual automatic transmission required with the switch. The two-position manual automatic should be secured within either position with the pin provided with the purpose. The selector switch on all units of the locomotive must be in the same position. Automatic transition should be occurred with both increasing and decreasing speed of the following points of the throttle in 8 positions. Low diameter and point line between 1 and 2. Approximate speed. Approximate 420 speed miles per hour 16 to 2 to 1. 2 and 3. Approximate forward speed 20 speed miles an hour. Backward 19 3 to 1. 3 to 4. Approximate forward speed 54 speed mile. Backward 45. The reverser in the air operated the reversing switch located in the electrical control cabinet each of the drum. The locomotive is in over the train. The reverse drum should be locked in neutral during the normal operation. The locking pin screw on the left hand with the side of the reverser to lock with the reverse drum in the neutral. This pin should be removed and inserted in the hole of the opposite edge of the drum. In the neutral position, the pin will engage with the thread hole in the shaft. Traction motor. The traction motor drive each of the pair of the wheels with the spur gear with the 15-62 ratio. The four traction motors under each of the unit are air-cooled by motor-driven blowers. One of the blower each of the motor. The four traction motor of the units that are connected to series parallel with the starting low speed. The serial parallel with the shunting field with the parallel shunting fields by progressive step. The transition at higher speeds. Electrical control cabinet. The electrical control cabinet is located near the generator of the diesel engine of the unit contained with the high voltage apparatus, the low voltage apparatus, the low voltage panel, the distribution panel, the high voltage apparatus, and the cabinet should not be worked on while the unit is in operation. High voltage apparatus, 6 main power contactors operated with air pressure through magnetic valve 2 series. The contactors marked S1, S14, S123. Parallel contactors marked P1 through P4, inclusive traction motor field shunting contactor. 4-pole air operated through magnet valve marked N. Reverse or rotary jump switch air operated through the magnet valve of the parallel relay marked PR located on the low voltage panel. The relay energized by the transition relay operated in conjunction with the time delay relay. Closed parallel contactor during the transition. The relay also operated with the shunt field. The battery the field contactor causing them to operate open during the transition. Ground protective relay with the wrench with the GR opening of the battery field's contactor to reduce the engine speed with the idle. If grounded the curve with the high voltage system, the relay can be reset with the means of the reset lever. The ground relay can be cut out with emergency by the opening sealed knife of the switch in the electrical control cabinet, which is done with the ground protection is removed. The wheel slip relay marked with the WSR1, WSR2. Each compare the voltage and speed with the two motors. If the speed is different, indicating the slipping of the one or more of the pair of wheels. Indication is given that the engine manpower is automatically reduced by the slipping of the probable resume if the condition is not corrected. General shunt field contactors marked SH closed within the throttle levers notches 1 to 8, inclusive of the connecting main generator. The shunt field of the main generator armature open during the transition to reduce the generator output. Forward transition voltage relay marked FTR. The backward transition current relay marked BTR on some of the units. Backward transition series relay marked BTS when BTR is not used. Backward transition behavioral relay marked BTP when BTR is not used. Time delay backward relay marked TDB. Meter relay marked MR located at the nose of the A unit. Resistor 4-wheel slip relays for shunt field discharge and shunt field contactor. Low ammeter shunt number 4 traction motor circuit. Brake contactor 3-pole air so operated through a magnet field marked B connects with the forward traction motor fields. Series main generator during dynamic braking closing and with the transition lever to off braking position. Field loop contactor marked the FL connection, dynamic braking control rheostat action with the transition lever, the braking position unit selector, the switch rheostat resistor, then series of the field loop circuit. Field loop contact next, the all main generated battery fields and series out across the auxiliary generator battery circuit, the control unit. During the dynamic braking, the contactor is energized with the transition lever and the off in the braking position. Dynamic braking relay marked with the BR with the closed when the transition lever is off the brake position when closed with the established can switch to the toe position and partially complete the circuit with the brake contactors when open and established is the motor position of the cam switch partially complete the circuit with the traction motor contactors. Your cam switch marked with CS, the cam type of the switch operated with the air pressure for the magnet valve control with the braking relay when the motor position connects with the traction motor with the armatures serve with the respective field within the toe position. The disconnects the traction motor armature for the field that connects the braking resistor grid across each armature. Dynamic braking warning relay marked BWR operates the engine dynamic warning light on the instrument panel with the engine cabs indicates excessive braking control current. Alright, your low voltage apparatuses. Engine starting contactors marked ST plus and SG minus closed. When the start switch button is pressed, isolation to which the start position connecting to the battery is the main generator for the engine start. Voltage regulator regulates the voltage auxiliary generator at 74 volts through the operating speed range of the engine. Resistor the battery field discharge for the braking control of the automatic transition differential relay marked KP with the use only for the when BTR relay is used. On time delay relay TD or selector switch on the marked CO with the closed automatic transition on low voltage panel. Battery field contactor marked BF with closed with the throttle up with the slots and the notches 1 to 8 and then inclusive of the connection main generator battery field battery open during the transition from 2 to 3 or from 3 to 2 position closed always when the transition lever is in the braking position. Battery charging contactor marked with the BC connect with the auxiliary generator to the battery operated with the reverse current relay closed with the auxiliary generator voltage and high enough to charge the battery. Reverse current relay marked the RCR controls operation of the battery charging contactor to prevent battery from discharging through auxiliary generator. Battery charging switch, the hand-operated knife switch with it connects the auxiliary generator associated with the battery charging equipment to the battery. No AC voltage relay marked with an NVR operates for the AC voltage of the fail for the alternate circuit that actuates the alarm bell when they reduce the engine speed to idle limits of blue alternating failure of lights until the unit is affected. Signal relay marked the SR operates on alarm bell. Compressor control relay marked CR fuses 130 ampere auxiliary general field fuse, 135 ampere alternating field fuse, 180 ampere main generator field battery field fuse, 150 ampere battery charging fuse. Distribution panel, main battery switch, the knife switch, which is open to use, isolates all circuits of the battery except with the external charge of the receptacle. Control switch, the knife which connects the control system to the battery. Train control speed, governor switch, the knife switch, with the which the supplies of the battery power with the cab signal of the train phone, with the headlight, with the motor generator speed, the speed of the governor control light switch, the knife switch is the master switch with all the lights and battery charging indicator to indicate the net charge of the discharge through battery except with the starting with the current with the external charge and current with the fuse test lights and test block for the testing of the fuse. The fuse is 400 ampere starting fuse, 100 ampere external charging receptacle fuse, 800 ampere control fuse, 668 ampere train control speed governor fuse. Other fuses from 10 to 30 amps for the circuits controlled by the switches on the cab, push button, switch box, and for fuel pump and engine room lights. Alright, indication lights. A panel located with electrical control cabinet on the edge of the room side containing the following indication lights: hot engine, red, low oil, yellow, alternate failure, blue. A repeater panel located above the rear door of each of the unit that contains the following indication lights: the hot engine, red, low oil, yellow. Fan control cabinet. The fan control cabinet located over the right aisle adjacent to the engine control panel contains the control fan motor contactors A with C1 and AC4, inclusive connecting cooler fan motors for the alternating control, the individually thermostatic switch for the starting one after each another required for the cooling to water temperature. Manually reset the thermal overload circuit breaker, the temperature control relay, the TCR transfer relays marked TR1 and TR2, reverse order of closing the two motor fan contactors each in order to equalize the work done with the individual fans. Shutter switch controls the shutter of the winner and summer operation control push button switch. The control push button switch is located above the engine window with the right hand switch side of the cab and contains the following push button switch: the cab signal, bright headlight, dim headlight, class marker lights, number gauge lights, Foster motor, engine order light, alternate call push button. Controls complete the multiple unit control circuit through the control stop and the switches for the engine control and each room the compressor with control of the alarm bell light. The fuel pump completes a multiple unit circuit through the fuel pump contact each for the unit with the supply of the power to the fuel pump, thermostatic fueling fuel, and the shutter control. Also completes the circuit breaker, lubricating oil failure alarm, and ER relay on each for the unit. Generator field completes the circuit through the throttle lever notches 1 through 8, including the transition controller, the battery field, and shunt field contractors. Engine control panel. The engine control panel mounted on the floor stand at the front of the engine. The engine contains the following: start switch button for the engine, stop switch button for the engine, and fuel pump switch for the engine. Isolation switch, 2 position switches. When thrown, start the position engine will run in the idling speed only, but it will not provide the power for the locomotive when thrown in the run position. The position engine will use under the engine control throttle throttle lever. The fuel pump contactor completes the circuit with the fuel pump, the fan, the shutter of the control. The ER relay completes the circuit with the A, B, and C with the solenoids, electrical hydraulic governor operating with the opening circuit with the relay through. The operation of the isolation switch with the fuel pump push button, the pneumatic control switch. Other than protective device will be reduced engine speed to the idling, except with the 5th and 6th throttle position, which isolation switch to the run position when the engine will stop. Gauges lube oil suction, main oil bearing pressure, fuel. Alright, your electro-hydraulic governor control. Electro-hydraulic governor control incorporated with all engines of the governor. Each of the engine permits the multiple unit of control of all the engine over the locomotive. The one throttle lever. This assembly consists of the 4 solenoids marked A, B, C, and D with an electrical connection between the throttle and the governor control of each of the engine operates with different combination of the solenoid. The various combinations of the solenoids result in the required engine speed of each of the throttle position. Overriding solenoid marked O is included with the governing O assembly with affecting the engine load only with not engine speed when the engine solenoid is operated with causing lifting of the load regulation. Pilot valve forcing the load regulator minimum generator field. Installation position reducing loading on the generator. Or your load control, which loads of the diesel engine according to the throttle setting provided with the load regulator mounted below the engine control panel. The regulator to prevent the overloading of the engine. If the engine demands more than fuel to maintain the speed, the predetermined setting of the throttle position, load regulator reduces the load of the engine, reducing the installation for the main generator. In the same way, the engine requires less fuel for the predetermined setting of the balance point for the throttle position regulator. Increase lead by increasing installation on the main generator. The load regulator has 2 components: the pilot valve induced, including in a governor hydraulic rotary volume type, the motor attached to the communicated rheostat, which is the generator battery field circuit. During the transition to and from the parallel current motor connection with the overriding solenoid, the governor assembly to also cover the load regulator to reduce generation excitation when transition is being made. Alright, your pneumatic control switch relay. The pneumatic control switch relay used in the class of the locomotive is the same as described in Section 3, Class EP3. Dynamic braking. The dynamic braking system employed for the class of locomotives at the field loop may be continuously made between the several units of the locomotive through the separate jumpers, which connects all the main generator battery field for the locomotive in a series across the auxiliary generator battery field the circuit with the controlling unit. A unit selector in which operating cab should be set with the position corresponding with the number of the units making the locomotive of the locomotive. Whether not all the units are inoperative, if the unit is used with the trailing L unit of the field loop, jumper must be removed from the trailing end of the receptacle port. Permanent short circuiting bar with including the receptacle complete loop circuit. Are the dynamic braking grids located above each of the axles near the front end of each of the unit, air-cooled with the direct current motor driven below. If the motor driven below has received the power through the connection across the portion of the grids. Or your compression air system. Each of the diesel engine for the locomotive drive at the directive connected to the two-stage, three-cylinder air compressor. The compressor has the oil pump, the pressure lubricating system, oil level in the case can be checked by a bayonet type of the gauge of the intercooler between the two stages of the 50-pound safety valve. The main reserve pressure is controlled by an electrically actuated governor system set by and cut into 125-pound pressure to cut out the 140-pound pressure. Main reserve protected with against the excessive pressure with the 165-pound safety valve located with the discharge pipe. The pressure at 150-pound safety valve located in the pipe in the adjacent with the main reserve. Drains are located with the intercooling oil pump serve with the reservoir filters. Main reserve means while the large condensation may be drained from the system. On each of the unit main reserve air through the reducing valve set with a nominally 80-pound supply with the control reservoir from which there is piped pneumatically operated switch to the contactor for the electrical control cabinet. Control air pressure gauge is located in the cabinet adjacent with the distribution panel. Cutout cocks are located in the piping to reduce the valve and electrical control cabinet. The control air reverser is equipped. Reservoir is equipped with a drain cock throughout the condensation may be drained from the reservoir. The main reservoir pressure is up to is used the operating the air brakes, the sand horns, windshield wiper, the bell ring of the shutters, the fuel supply tank gauge, and the air operated through the separate reducing valve. Your air brake system number 24RL brake equipment is used with the K2A rotary valve and on the A units. Each of the two trucks under each of the units is equipped with a 4 brake cylinder, 2-side vent without cutout cocks, each with which cuts out release with all brake cylinders on the truck and are located on the right side of each of the unit. Locomotive operation. After the locomotive has been properly inspected, electrical control cabinet to check all the fuses are in place, all the switches closed on the distribution channel, check all the fuses in the place for the battery charging switch and is closed in the low voltage panel. Check the selector switch in the transition is in an automatic or manual position as required. Switches on all units must be in the same position. Engine position in the control switch units and check the throttle and the lever is in idle position. Check the transition lever is in off position. Check the reverse lever is in the off position. Check the unit selector switch to the proper position. Check the control and fuel pump position and push button switches and engine position in the trailing cab. Check the throttle idle is in the idle position. Check the transition lever in the off position. Check the reverse lever in the remove. Check the unit selector switch in the proper position. Check the control, fuel pump, generated fuel push button switches are open at each of the diesel engine control panel. Place the isolation switch in the run position. Alarm should be sound. Place the isolation switch in the start position. Close the fuel oil pump switch to note that the full flow of fuel obtained with the sight glass nearest the engine. Check the manual slave shift the lever that is in near idle position. Place the engine of the start button, start push button. Hold until the engine starts. After the lubricating oil pressure builds up and place the isolation switch in the run position. Check the proper indication lubricating oil pressure and lubricating oil section gauges. 5. Electrical control cabinet on each of the unit. Check the battery charge indicator on the distribution panel to see that it indicates the charge through the batteries. Alright, moving into the locomotive and the road operations. To move the locomotive, to close the generator field push button, switch with the place the foot on the dead man pedal with the release of the air brakes, replace the reverse level in the forward reverse position as required, place the transition lever to the position as follows. If operating selector switch in the manual position, if the transition lever that must be placed in number 1 position must be openly advanced and indicate the low demand meter. If the operating selector switch in the automatic position, transition lever should be placed in number 1 position, should be not advanced. The full automatic forward or backward transition take place in the position of the transition lever. Move the throttle lever into the position required to start the locomotive in the train, posing each of the notch position. And starting a heavy train, the gear must be exceeded to properly control it to action before accelerating. To apply dynamic braking, move the throttle lever to the idle position. See the reverse lever in the forward position. When 10 seconds then place the transition lever in the off position. Move the transition lever to the B position. Advance the lever to giving the brake power required using the care to be properly control the slack action. Alright, using a load ammeter. The load ammeter scale is divided into color section 4 and the green section with numbers corresponding to the transition lever with the position and overload section merging the yellow and the red surveyor of the guide with the operating of the locomotive. The accelerating train with the standing start with the low speed with the power of the load ammeter may swing with full scale distance in the mile. Locomotive may be operated with the point in the overload section indicated with a small number above the vertical lines divided in this section. If and after operating with the locomotive within the point of the overload portion, if any one of the indicating distance of the pointer does not move into the green portion, the tonnage must reduce and help be obtained. When using the manual transition of the throttle lever in the 8th position, movement of the transition lever shall be made as indicated by a load meter as follows. As the pointer moves into any of the green sections, the transition lever should be moved in the position corresponding to the number of that section. When the transition lever is in the number 3 or the number 4 position, the pointer may move into the white section, move between 3 and 4. Green section will without moving the transition lever between, but the pointer moved to the green section. Transition lever must be placed in the position corresponding to the number of that green section. When operating the automatic transition, it should be noted that the transition occurs with approximately these points indicated with the load animator. The red triangle occur located on the load animator scale to indicate the maximum allowable current using dynamic brakes. When operating the throttle lever other than the 8th in position, the manual transition locomotive speed at which the transition lever should be moved as follows. Speed miles an hour, 20 minutes, 12 miles an hour, 1 to 2, 25, 1 2 to 3, 50, 3 to 4, 4 to 50, 4 to 3, 25, 3 to 2, 20, 2 to 1. Operation within the load ammeter. The necessary operate with the load ammeter. The transition should be made according to the preceding table. The following minimum speeds must be maintained after these acceleration avoid the position. Lateral lever in position 8, 15.5 miles an hour, 12 miles an hour, 6, 9.5 miles an hour, 5, 7.7 miles an hour. When throttle lever in the 8th position, minimum continue with a speed of 15.5 miles an hour. Operating speeds below 15.5 miles an hour permissible under any of the following limitation with the throttle lever in the 8th position: 3.9, 8 miles, 12.74 miles, 11.3, 2 miles, 9.61 mile. Alright, isolating a diesel engine. If necessary to isolate a diesel engine, see the diesel engine idling necessary to reduce the idling speed to review the lay shaft manual control level, the place isolation switch in the start position. No, if necessary to isolate the diesel engine, when use the dynamic brake of the diesel engine must be stopped using the lay shift manual control lever before moving the isolation switch to the start position, except in an emergency situation, and the isolation switch should never be moved. Should not be moved to the start position while the transition lever is in the right of the B position. Putting the diesel engine online. If necessary to put the diesel engine online with the throttle lever in the, other than idle position, the movement of the lay shaft manual of the control lever that may be retarded manually so the diesel engine comes up to speed gradually when the isolation switch is moved to the run position. Note the isolation switch must be not moved to the run position. The dynamic braking is in operation. Emergency engine stop is the same as described in Section 3, Class EP3. Ground relay operation, same as described in Section Class 3, EP3, except that if the engine stops, the alternating failure instead of the low oil warning light will light and an alarm will sound. Low oil indication. Alright, your low oil indication lights will light on the unit involved with the alarm bell throughout the locomotive will sound with the diesel engine shut down with the lubrication oil failure. The engine governor reset the push button must be pressed to put in the low oil light. Check the lubrication oil level in the crankcase each engine. Examine the external pipe of the lubricating oil system for leaks before attempting to restart the engine. If the diesel engine is started with running at idle speed with the correcting low oil condition would cause shutdown lubrication oil failure, should shut down system should stop the engine approximately 40 seconds. Your hot engine warning indicator. The hot engine water and high cooling water and temperature will cause the hot engine indication lights to low light on the unit involved with the sound alarm bells throughout the locomotive. Check the cooling water level. Check the automatic shutter of the cooling fan. The operation of the reset the thermal overlaid fan motor circuit breakers if necessary. Your alternator failure indicator. The failure of the alternating current system, stopping of the diesel engine from any of the causes to which the isolation switch is in the run position will cause the alternate failure to light on the unit involved with the alarm bells to sound throughout the locomotive. Placing the isolation switch in the start position will put out the lights and the stop of the alarm bells. If indication due to the failure, alternate current system with a check of 35 ampere alternator field fuse with a low voltage panel will replace as necessary. Units must be operated under the low alternating current system and operative. Note: when attempting to start the diesel engine, if no fuel appears in the sight glass nearest the engine, the check of the fuel pump is running. If not, check the fuse position of the switch in the control fuel pump. Check if the fuel pump is running. Fuel show the 660-pound sight glass. The filter should be clean. The fuel pump is running. But no fuel show or within either sight glass. Check the fuel pump supply energy fuel cutoff valve with the fuel oil suction line of the pump and for the leaks. 2. If the diesel engine does not rotate with the engine start push button and is pressed to check the isolation switch in the start position, test the 400 amp starting fuse on the distribution panel, check the starting contactors. If the diesel engine rotates but does not fire, check the delay shaft. The manual control lever is in a near idle position with the governor pushing button into the check overspeed stop. The reset is necessary. If the locomotive fails to move, the diesel engine running with the throttle open, see that the lever, the reverse lever in the proper position, the transition lever in the proper position, the generator fuel push button switch is closed, the brakes are released, and check all the 30 amp of the control fuse of the distribution panel and that all the insulation switches are in run position. Alright, 5. If the locomotive moves if the locomotive moves but one or more of the diesel engine failure to deliver the power, the following checks should be made. See the isolation switches are in the run position, check the control reservoir air pressure, check the ground relay set, reset if tripped, check the starting contactors if open, check the 80 amp of the battery field fuse on the low voltage panel. When checking the operating ends before proceeding to the end of the being cut in the control generator field, the fuel button push button switches should be open. The control fuel pump push button switches at the end of the being cut and should be then closed properly. If fuel transfer pumps will shut down, the engines will stop within a few minutes. Section 9, Class FF3, General Data Locomotive, the Fairbanks Morris Company.